Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The effect I'll be showing you today is a simple text stretch effect. By constructing a time equation relative to text position, it is possible to deform text as shown. Time relative equations are an essential part of animating with geometry nodes. So it's a good idea getting used to it with simple animation as this one. By applying the same principle, you can create stretch effects from multiple directions. Alright, let's get into it. Right, as soon as we get into Blender, we'll hop right into Geometry Nodes Layout, A to select all, X to delete, Shift A add plane. Using numpad 7 and 5, go into top orthographic view, click on New, add new Geometry Nodes map, delete group input, add a string input instead. Type in test and pass it through strings to curve and output. Right. Today's effect is going to be simple, so I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to use a realized instance and also a resample. Change the type to length and change the length to 0.01. And I'm going to go ahead and fill the curve. Alright, so today's effect is a stretching effect. I'm going to have 3 patterns, one coming in from the right, one coming in from the left, and one coming in from both sides. So for the one that's coming in from the right, I'm just going to use a set position, plug it in here. From offset, I'm going to pull out a combine XYZ, and from X, I'm going to pull out a map range. I'm going to have a scene time on the left and also a position node, and from position I'm going to separate XYZ like so, and from seconds I'm going to use the subtract and subtract X from the scene time second. I'm going to plug the result into map range value, then going to change the 2 min to 2 and 2 max to 0. And now if I were to run the animation, you can see the effect kind of kicking in. I'm going to change the end frame to 70. Right, but it looks kind of monotonous and linear. So I'm just going to use a float curve and plug it in between subtract and map range and change the curve like so. Right. So now you can see it's a little bit more flexing, accelerating and decelerating, and it looks more stretching now. Okay. I'm also going to add a mask node right here, multiply and control the speed, so it goes a little bit faster. Right. So right now it looks like this. Okay, so the effect is pretty much done, except if I were to change the alignment, which is left right now, to center, all of a sudden it's not going to work. The reason for it is the reference of this position is going to be at world origin. So I'm going to change it so it's going to work no matter where the text is placed. So from fill curve, I'm going to bring out a bounding box, put it over here. I'm just going to disconnect the position and use a vector mask to subtract the min from the position and plug it into separate XYZ. Now if you look at it, even if it's center aligned, right aligned, anywhere, it's gonna work. Right, it looks like it's working. Okay, right, so the effect of going from right to left is complete, so let's try one that goes from left to right. So I'm gonna grab all these and use Control Shift D to duplicate with lines and bring it down here. So it's right now it's a duplicate, so it's doing the right to left, but what I want to do is make it so it goes from left to right. So the first thing we'll look at is the initial position, which is 2 min value of the map range. So I'm going to change this to -2, so it's going to start on the left side. And if I were to run the animation right now, well, the animation looks kind of cool, but this is not really what we want. The reason why this is happening is because we're centering the initial position to here, and it's referencing the text like this. Okay, so in this direction, what we want to do is make a center point right here and reference the text from right to left. So the first thing is we're going to change the bounding box min to bounding box max right here. And well, with this it looks kind of like this, but next thing that we'll do is make sure that it's going to be referencing the direction no matter which way it's looking at. So I'm going to just grab a mask node and use the absolute right here. So going from left to right, yeah, this looks alright. Okay, so left to right is complete. So this one's right to left, and this one's left to right. Okay. The last effect, or the last pattern I'm going to do is going from both sides, which basically you have a text that is split in half, and half of it comes from this way, another half comes from this way. Okay. So what I'm going to do is grab all these again, and Control-Shift-D, bring it down. I'm just going to move these guys over this way as well. So, for the last pattern, what I want is to have a reference point in the center, and in order to get that, I have to change this part. Let's get a vector mask from here, add the minimum and max, vector mask scale, and get a 0.5 to get the center. And right now the reference is between the min and max right here. So if I were to run the animation, well, I have to connect this guy, but it's still not gonna work, right? The reason is the initial position is wrong because we want it to go from both sides, right? So we'll fix that. Get the x value from separate xyz. Get a greater than node, pass it through a switch, change the type to float. For false, I'm going to put -2, and for true, 2. And I'm going to plug into 2 min of the map range right there. Okay. So now if I were to run the animation, you can see the text coming together from both sides. Okay. Alright, so basically the 3 same effects, 3 different patterns of direction. You can also try this with Y direction. Of course, all you have to do is change the reference of separate XYZ and combine XYZ, and you can get it going vertically. Right, I'm not going to go through any material, so we'll just summarize what we made. 3 pretty much the same effect, but what you have to realize is formulas that you kind of create regarding the time relationship of position and time. That's where you kind of have to watch out for. Okay. Right. This effect you see a lot on logos and things like that, but yeah, it's a pretty common stretching effect. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time.